Hi class, my name is Laura Heelan, and this is my video response to the direction and redirections number 5. So this is the book entitled Opinions, Doxa After Digitality. I wanted to share my insights and what I gained from the readings. The first example that I found interesting was about Boris Johnson. He's the former Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, and it was suspected that his likes on Facebook during his campaign may have invested in manufactured engagement. This was due to the similarity in his comments. Meanwhile, Theresa May, his predecessor, her comments were more unique from each other, proving that they were written by actual humans. I think it takes Doxa to realize something is off from his comments. I like to think of it as a gut feeling that something is not quite right. Then using research on other candidates can prove the difference on what real humans would comment on versus a bot. Johnson's bot comments were all positive. Meanwhile, human comments would be a mix of positive and negative comments about the candidate. It is interesting that Johnson was still able to win the election, though, when his campaign was false, holding comments from bots, yet still gaining attention on digital media platforms. I found this quote on page 126 very insightful. It says, a manufactured comment from astroturfing efforts might emerge as endostic. Look, everyone prefers this candidate, while also technically adoxtic. In fact, not as many people as it seems prefer this candidate. While also appearing like an individual's opinion, doxa, or opinions that tether the individual to the collective. So many types of doxa can appear all because one candidate is having bot comments and not true, authentic human content comments to gain attention, to receive votes from the public. I also think it should be obvious that it's a bot because humans make mistakes. We don't type perfectly, and a bot would probably have perfect grammar, the commas, the periods, the punctuation, all of that, and no emotion to it. Another example given is about the Fire Festival. I remember hearing about this event and I thought it was really interesting how viral it went, and I understand why. It's also sad how many people were scammed. People paid thousands of dollars to attend a festival, up to $12,000 for one ticket, but minimum was about 1,500 because they were promised all these popular artists would be there. They were promised luxury accommodations, which turned out to be tents and cold cheese sandwiches. Yum. The Netflix and Hulu documentary sparked outrage among viewers. They were upset to hear about the festival and how the ticket holders were not given a refund. But the documentary did justice, and the attendees received a refund after going to court in 2021. People jumped on the bandwagon by discussing their disgust and anger for what happened at the festival and the disappointment for the ticket holders. It doesn't take much common sense or doxa to understand and sympathize with the concert goers for what they were promised versus what they were given. Another shocking aspect to this concert is that they tried to hold a fire festival too, and people actually bought tickets. What? Did they not hear about the disaster of the first one? I'm hoping they bought tickets to see if it was another disaster and to be part of the viral moment, and not in hopes they would actually have a good time and meet these popular artists. Hopefully, the ones who went to the first festival used their common sense not to try again. As the saying goes, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. On a personal note, I found this story very interesting when it was trending in the news. I felt bad for the attendees, and I'm glad there was justice when the organizer went to prison for 4 years after receiving a 6-year sentence. I think that's sufficient. But I also didn't fully sympathize with these attendees. I mean, if they can afford to spend over 10,000 on a ticket, they have that kind of money. Most likely they're doing fine in life. It wasn't a big loss to them. I want to conclude on that story that the festival with this quote from the page 130, outrage is no different. At the end of the day, opinions cannot be controlled, which means that the network time cannot be controlled. And no matter how many users jumped on the same bandwagon at the same instant, What habitually looks like one widely shared opinion during viral outrage is actually more AN Urdoxa producing themselves, each singularly clocking another countdown. I'm in the middle of the statement of opinions cannot be controlled. I think people have a higher power in influencing someone's opinions. For example, a parent influencing a young child's opinion, or a political figure that is well looked up to and liked, or even a celebrity. Opinions can be highly influenced if everyone else holds the same opinion. On page 130 also says, accepted opinions are just in doxa when they are haunted by a doxa. For example, one way to think about reputation is that as an opinion is circulation, which means that according to orgy, a second order opinion as something we believe, we must believe. In the article we were assigned, Writing with Reddit Quit, one of the quotes says, the common refrain, as exemplified in Obama's farewell address, is that social reinforcement practices on media platforms such as Facebook and YouTube threaten our abilities to deliberate complex ideas with people who think differently than us, and that these challenges and difficulties in turn threaten democracy itself. I interpret this as people do not take the effort to fact check. They see what is on the internet, believe it as true, and then decide their opinion and stance on it. When people instead should be doing their research first before building any opinions on the subject matter. Reddit's a popular website that has built communities of people with their similar interests. There are unfortunately groups that are unkind to specific groups such as women or different races, or even religions. Overall, the intent of Reddit is to build a community, share ideas, and answer questions. For example, I've looked up Reddit for patient reviews on medication for deciding if I should take it based on real patient feedback and not just what my doctor says. It's definitely saved me from dealing with unwanted side effects, and Reddit is Reddit's community rules that everyone should be following. In conclusion, I enjoyed the readings. I especially liked reading about the past events that I was familiar about hearing about, especially the Fire Festival. And thanks for listening. Bye.